to me, that never made sense to me, because they do double work of verifying the assignment chain, verifying the mortgage data points. It's already done. If I integrate the machine learning and OCR function within the title report, now I have all the data, which is called cleansed, that can be passed to prepare the next assignment or subordination agreements or release of the mortgage instantly. So that's what we've been able to accomplish. And by the way, I also carry the custodian capability as well. So if you need to store the files, we have a huge warehouse with the video surveillance 24/7 in Houston. But that's one part. And the next part is the collateral file that I will be able to upload in our system will generate a exception report and merge with title. And now you have a complete due diligence report and exceptions that you can give to the seller. Now, the biggest problem on this market is cost, right? So in other words, with COVID and raise of the employee wages, the cost for diligence went up, probably doubled, right? Yep. If you're looking at the collateral reviews or compliance reviews. So what we're trying to do is find the most cost-effective solution out there by not using a fancy buzzword technologies in AI, such as, say, neuro video card graphic capture of image on the page and figuring things out. No, that's too expensive, by the way. So if I would be processing photographs, that would be perfect technology, right? If I would be processing text, all I need is the NLP technology, which is the natural language processing, understanding of documents, right? Or standard form document approach, where if the form itself doesn't change, then I can really inexpensive grab the data from it.
But we're talking
about the other characteristic.
Inexpensive.
Yeah, that's the other characteristic of a note investor. A, we're lazy. B, we're cheap. So if we're going to pay for due diligence, we're not, $100 for a title report, no problem. $300 for a title report, nah.
We'll skip it. We'll look it up our own county record, right? That's what we typically do. So when you say this is going to be inexpensive, what is that? I mean, what do you think that will be around, if you can?
Just to scrape the file, let's say, to produce the critical document review. In other words, there's a set of a dozen documents that must be present for each collateral file, and those are usual suspects, right? So it's the security instrument, it's a note, it's a launch, it's HUD 1, and so on. Probably we're talking about anywhere from $40 to $50, maybe even $35. So that's cheap. And that will produce for you the exception report that will tell you what document is missing. So that's perfect for lazy investor. If you have let's say a 3,000 to 5,000 page file, drop it and get the report. You're done. When you talk about credit and compliance, probably, for a non-volume clients, we're probably looking at, 170-ish. And that's complete credit and compliance review with, of course, no compliances, because that's a separate fee.
Interesting. So what about in the case, let's say it's the opposite issue where it's not a 200, 300 page document or 6,000 or whatever. Let's say it's a 10-page document where it's a seller finance deal, and the indexing in that is going to be different. Like they might not even call it a note. So how do we, would that work still? Or is
well,
that?
it's very niche market, right? So I'm focused on the mainstream markets.
Sure.
So let me take a step back and give you a few things that things to know as an investor of what we need to train our system. I always thought that if we're big enough as a company, you have to have your own training set up for indexer and training set up for data extracting.
Okay.
I think you have to throw in the money to build your AI system or your machine learning system. And I looked at also, like I said, I looked at all solutions out there, and I was not happy either because solution is good enough, but to add one field takes 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in other words, I want that field to be extracting, which is a new field, and the vendor would say, well, stand in line, it takes 6 months to do. I said, all right, I don't have 6 months, I need it now. So it's easier for me to build a system and build a training system for data extraction, build a training system for the indexer. So for indexer to work, we need 200 samples. Doesn't matter which documents, right? Seller finance documents or contract for deeds. I know it's very, very niche. We need 200 samples of single type of documents for a system to know that this is a seller finance note or this is a contract for deed. And it'll always, whenever it sees that type of document, it'll know, okay, I know what it is. And we will use the same set of 200 documents to extract the data points. Right now, our production is about, we can train up to 20 new documents a week for the indexer, and we can get 2 new documents a week for the data extract, which means that
document. What does a new document look like?
Let's say Nathan brought up seller finance. I don't remember what it looks like, Nathan, even though I've been around. Maybe I do. I don't know if this is a unique document in our library, but let's assume it's a new document, right? That we've never seen before. Our system never seen before. We always label it as unknown. So Nathan said, all right, I really have this ongoing business where I need you to recognize that document. And you will send me 200 samples under NDA for our system to train on those documents, right? And we need a very clean documents to train, right? So we cannot use the whole loan file. Just give us a page 1 to page N of that document, and no blank pages and no dark pages, just that pure document. So the system, like NLP, would understand, read the text, understand what this document is, look at the header, look at how it's structured, and really understand what this document is. And after that, we'll take that and say, Nathan, what data fields you need from seller finance notes? And you'll say, I need this, and the interest rate, I need borrower name, lender name, and all of the good stuff. And I want to know if it's signed or not, and if it's notarized, and so on. We'll take that, and next time, we already know what this document is and what data points to extract. That's what I mean by new document.
Yeah, that's so hard because I know Nathan and I went through this process, and that's gonna be a struggle, I'm sure, for you, because what they call borrower, I think I had 15 different variables in what they call borrower, and just the different type cases were just unreal. But at the same time, there's also 3,000 counties nationwide, and how hard is it to get all 3,000 counties? You've already accomplished that. So I challenge you, but I'm afraid to challenge you because I know you probably figure it out, which is tremendous. So how quickly does this typical process, if I'm going to send you a file that you've seen before, we've got the cost, how quickly can this expected to be returned to an email back to us with a document inside of it?
Yeah, so how quickly? Well, let's say we're doing the critical document review for the regular mortgage. Again, I don't know what you're scaring me with the seller finance stuff. But the regular mortgage probably will be, a couple of days, because I want to allocate some time for the human to get in and to analyze the data, right?